Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome, welcome to another Quran halaqa with Abdurrahman and Abdullah. Today, inshallah, Abdurrahman shall be continuing with the next part, Surah Al-Ahqaf, the 46th chapter of the Quran. Before that, inshallah, we shall be continuing with the next 99 name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is Al-Wali. So inshallah, I will recite the 99 names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and then share some brief comments on Allah ta'ala's name, Al-Wali. نسألك يا من هو الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الرحمن الرحيم الملك القدوس السلام المؤمن المهيمن العزيز الجبار المتكبر الخالق البارئ المصور الغفار القهار الوهاب الرزاق الفتاح العليم القابض الباسط الخافض الرافع المعز المذل السميع البصير الحكم العدل اللطيف الخبير الحليم العظيم الغفور الشكور العلي الكبير الحفيظ المقيت الحسيب الجليل الكريم الرقيب المجيب الواسع الحكيم الودود المجيد الباعث الشهيد الحق الوكيل القوي المتين الولي الحميد المحصي المبدئ المعيد المحيي المميت الحي القيوم الواجد الماجد الواحد الأحد الصمد القادر المقتدر المقدم المؤخر الأول الآخر الظاهر الباطن الوالي المتعال البر التواب المنتقم العفو الرؤوف مالك الملك ذو الجلال والإكرام المقسط الجامع الغني المغني المانع الضار النافع النور الهادي البديع الباقي الوارث الرشيد الصبور. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. ربي زدني علما ربي زدني علما ربي زدني علما آمين رب العالمين. Today inshallah we shall be beginning with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's name, the 77th one, Al-Wali. And Al-Wali. And Al-Wali can mean a couple of meanings. So the root of Al-Wali comes from the root Waw, Lam, and Ya. And a couple of meanings for this word is that the first one means that someone who is near to someone. Yani what Allah Ta'ala talks about himself in Surah Al-Baqarah, where he says, Allahu waliyyul ladhina amanu. He's trying to show that Allah Ta'ala is trying to tell the believers that He is the one who is close to them and will help them throughout their stages in life. The second meaning is to be a friend and a supporter. The third and the last meaning is to be a master or a lord. And the root Ya, Waw, Lam, and Ya appears 232 times in the Quran in many different forms. And we can see the words Al-Awliya or Al-Mawla, Awla, or Tawalla, turn away, many different ones. But the most common one that most people recite is Surah Yunus, Ayah 62, where Allah says a statement. He says, ألا إن أولياء الله لا خوف عليهم ولا هم يحزنون الذين آمنوا وكانوا يتقون لهم البشرى في الحياة الدنيا وفي الآخرة لا تبديل لكلمات الله ذلك الفوز العظيم. And this is ألا إن أولياء Allah. Surely Allah Ta'ala, ألا إن أولياء Allah, the allies of Allah, لا خوف عليهم ولا هم يحزنون. لا خوف means no fear upon them, ولا هم يحزنون meaning they will not be sad. And who are these kind of people whom Allah Ta'ala is completely close to? Is الذين آمنوا وكانوا يتقون. Those who believe in Allah Ta'ala, who have Iman, وَكَانُوا يَتَّقُونَ, and who have taqwa in Allah Ta'ala. And Allah Ta'ala gives them glad tidings, لَهُمُ الْبُشْرَى فِي الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا وَفِي الْآخِرَةِ. They will not only have glad tidings in this world, but also وَفِي الْآخِرَةِ, in the following life as well. So we ask Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala to make us one of those who are close to Him. And we ask Allah Ta'ala to grant us knowledge. Jazakallah khair. This ends the section on Allah Ta'ala's name Al-Wali. So now, inshallah, Abdurrahman, shall be beginning with the next part of Al-Ahqaf. Abdurrahman.
Jazakallah khairan, Abdullah, for a wonderful lecture on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's name, Al-Wali. Now, inshallah, I'll be doing part 3 of Surah Ahqaf. This is not the final part. Inshallah, next week will be the final part. Today, we will be discussing ayat 19 to 28, inshallah. I'll begin with the recitation, then I'll be going over the translation and the tafsir, inshallah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ولكل درجات مما عملوا وليوفيهم أعمالهم وهم لا يظلمون. ويوم يعرض الذين كفروا على النار أذهبتم طيباتكم في حياتكم الدنيا واستمتعتم بها فاليوم تجزون عذاب الهون بما كنتم تستكبرون في الأرض بغير الحق وبما كنتم تفسقون. واذكر أخا عاد إذ أنذر قومه بالأحقاف وقد خلت النذر من بين يديه ومن خلفه ألا تعبدوا إلا الله إني أخاف عليكم عذاب يوم عظيم. قالوا وجئتنا لتأفكنا عن آلهتنا فأتنا بما تعدنا إن كنت من الصادقين. قال إنما العلم عند الله وأبلغكم ما أرسلت به ولكني أراكم قوما تجهلون. فلما رأوه عارضا مستقبل أوديتهم قالوا هذا عارض ممطرنا بل هو ما استعجلتم به ريح فيها عذاب أليم تدمر كل شيء بأمر ربها فأصبحوا لا يرى إلا مساكنهم كذلك نجزي القوم المجرمين. ولقد مكناهم في ماء مكناكم فيه وجعلنا لهم سمعا وأبصارا وأفئدة فما أغنى عنهم سمعهم ولا بصارهم ولا أفئدتهم من شيء إذ كانوا يجحدون بآيات الله وحاق بهم ما كانوا به يستهزئون. ولقد أهلكنا ما حولكم من القرى وصرفنا الآيات لعلهم يرجعون. فلولا نصرهم الذين اتخذوا من دون الله قربانا آلهة بل ضلوا عنهم وذلك إفكهم وما كانوا يفترون. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي ربنا زدنا علما ربنا زدنا علما. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. All right, now let's start with the beginning of the section, part 3. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala begins it off by talking about the different degrees about people. وَلِكُلٍّ دَرَجَاتٌ مِّمَّا عَمِلُوا. And for all people, there will be degrees for what they have done. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created people with certain characteristics. Some people might be good in patience. Some people might be good in having lots of anger. Some people might be having they might be very good at math or art or any type of subject. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given people with different characteristics and different talents. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that no matter what talent I give you, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to reward you for what you did with those talents. How did you use your math skills to help Islam? Or how did you use your art skills or whatever skills that you have? How did you use that to make yourself a better Muslim and to make Islam better or to help another person come onto this religion? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to reward you for that. He's not going to reward you for the talents that He gave you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us the talents. We don't create the talents. We just use the talents that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us. وَلِيُوَفِّيَهُمْ أَعْمَالَهُمْ وَهُمْ لَا يُظْلَمُونَ. And so whatever they did with their talents, whatever they did with it, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala fully compensate them for what they did. If it was bad or good, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give them the complete ajr, the full reward for whatever they did. وَهُمْ لَا يُظْلَمُونَ. And they will not be wronged even a little bit. وَيَوْمَ يُعْرَضُ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا عَلَى النَّارِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala now talks about those who uses their characteristics and their talent in a bad purpose. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says on that day when those disbelievers will be exposed and they will be given towards the fire, they will be their good deeds أذهبتم طيباتكم في حياتكم الدنيا, that all of their good things that they have done has escaped them. All of them have been exhausted just looking at the number of bad deeds that they have done in this life, in this dunya. حياتكم الدنيا واستمتعتم بها. And what they did instead of doing good deeds, they just took pleasures in whatever they wanted to do. فَالْيَوْمَ تُجْزَوْنَ عَذَابَ الْهُونِ. And now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that for those people who did all these bad things in this world and did not care about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and did not care to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, did not care to obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that they will be treated with a humiliating punishment. بِمَا كُنْتُمْ تَسْتَكْبِرُونَ فِي الْأَرْضِ. That is because they were arrogant on this earth بِغَيْرِ الْحَقِّ, without any type of right. وَبِمَا كُنْتُمْ تَفْسُقُونَ. And that was because they were defiantly disobedient and they did not listen to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or the messengers or whatever messages came to them. Now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to give an example of those who have great might, great skill, great characteristics, but they fail to use them in the proper way and they have used it in a bad way. وَاذْكُرْ أَخَا عَادٍ. Remember the brothers of Ad. إِذْ أَنذَرَ قَوْمَهُ بِالْأَحْقَافِ وَقَدْ خَلَتِ النُّذُرُ مِنْ بَيْنِ يَدَيْهِ وَمِنْ خَلْفِهِ. That when Ad, he reminded his people about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And these people, they lived in Yemen, and inside Yemen, there was places that had a lot of sand dunes, al-Ahqaf. So they used to live here. And they used to carve mountains. And we all know that they were very gigantic in their height. And they used to just pluck out trees with their bare hands. They didn't need any material. So they were very strong, very tall. And they also had a lot of wisdom as well. وَقَدْ خَلَتِ النُّذُرُ مِنْ بَيْنِ يَدَيْهِ وَمِنْ خَلْفِهِ. And before Hud alayhi salam, there were many warners, and there were many warners coming after him, and that they were only preaching one message, that was Allah ta'budu illallah, that you do not worship anyone but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Inni akhafu alaykum adhaba yawmin azim. For I fear for you, Allah, these messengers are saying to Ad that for I fear for you that you will have a great punishment on a great day. قالوا أجئتنا لتنفكنا عن آلهتنا فأتنا بما تعدنا إن كنت من الصادقين. Ad will say to their messengers, and now especially it's about Hud alayhi salam. So they will say to Hud alayhi salam that you have come to us to turn us away from our lords, because they worshipped idols. They have wisdom, but they're not using it in the proper way. So now they think that there are multiple lords that are made out of stone, rock, or trees, or whatever they did. So they have multiple idols. They say, فَأْتِنَا بِمَا تَعِدُنَا إِن كُنْتَ مِنَ الصَّادِقِينَ. If you are so truthful, then bring us with what you threaten us. And these people, they're supposed to have a lot of wisdom, but they're not using it at this point. They have a prophet coming down in front of them. They have a message coming down that is talking about Tawheed. They didn't ponder about it. They didn't even think for a second to think about what it was. They just said, whatever punishment that you think there is, whatever punishment that you're threatening us with, bring it to us if you are so truthful. قال إنما العلم عند الله. Now Hud alayhi salam's response, that I only have knowledge from my Lord. وأبلغكم ما أرسلت به. That I am only here to convey this message to you, what I'm sent with. ولكني أراكم قوما تجهلون. But as I see right now that these Ad people, they are قوما تجهلون, that they are very arrogant people and ignorant people. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He put them in for a drought for a very long time, and they suffered without any water. So then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, after a while, He brings a big cloud. فَلَمَّا رَأَوْهُ عَارِضًا مُسْتَقْبِلَ أَوْدِيَتِهِمْ. When they saw this huge cloud, and عارض, it's like a storm cloud, like it's very big. It's not like a small cloud. And it was approaching them into their valleys of Ahqaf. And they said, and they were climbing up onto the high points, and they're looking and on top of trees and on top of mountains and saying, قالوا هذا عارض ممطرنا, that this huge cloud is going to bring us rain, and then we will be out of this drought. This is what they think. بل هو ما استعجلتم به. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, no, this is what you were asking the messenger Hud alayhi salam for. You were asking for this punishment. You were asking for it to be hastened for you. ريح فيها عذاب أليم. And in it is a painful punishment. So they were in a drought for a very long time, and they see that this huge cloud comes, and they're thinking it's all rain. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, this is the major punishment that you've been waiting for it to come. Now it's here, and this is your painful punishment. And it was a windstorm and a dust storm that lasted. Now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to explain the details in the next verse. So تُدَمِّرُ كُلَّ شَيْءٍ بِأَمْرِ رَبِّهَا. When it came, it destroyed everything by its Lord command. فَأَصْبَحُوا لَا يُرَى إِلَّا مَسَاكِنُهُمْ. And that the storm was so huge, you could not see anything except their massive dwellings, because their dwellings, as you can see in the picture in the slides, they used to carve it out of mountains. So that was the only thing that was remaining that they could see. You could not see the bodies of them. They were all thrown around. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and gave them such a terrible punishment. كَذَلِكَ نَجْزِي الْقَوْمَ الْمُجْرِمِينَ. Thus, this is how we recompense those who are mujrimeen, those who are criminals, those who sin without thinking. وَلَقَدْ مَكَّنَّاهُمْ فِي مَاءٍ مَكَّنَّاكُمْ فِيهِ. And before we move on to this next little section, I just want to emphasize again that they were given two punishments. One was a very long drought, and one was a tornado, dust storm, windstorm, something like this. And our tornadoes, they last around 5 to 15 minutes. This one was lasting around a whole week's time. So imagine the damage that was done. We see the damage that a tornado is doing in 15 minutes. Imagine the damage it does in a whole week's time. وَلَقَدْ مَكَّنَّاهُمْ فِي مَاءٍ مَكَّنَّاكُمْ فِيهِ. And thus we have established them in what we have established for you. It's going to come up what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala directly established for them. فيه وجعلنا لهم سمعا وأبصارا وأفئدة. And in it we have given them hearing, vision, and hearts. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives them these blessings. They could use the hearing to listen to the verses of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to understand their messengers that are coming to them. They could listen to good things and stop with music and all this stuff. They could use the vision to look at the greatness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, of his creation that he has created, the mountains, the rain, the clouds, the ground itself, the grass, plants, everything. They could use the vision. And they have hearts so that they can feel emotional towards whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given them. فَمَا أَغْنَى عَنْهُمْ. But this has not availed them in any way. Their hearts have become hard as a rock. Their vision, hearing, they use for different things. سَمْعُهُمْ وَلَا بَصَارُهُمْ وَلَا أَفْئِدَةٌ مِّن شَيْءٍ. That their hearing and their vision and their hearts, they were nothing to them. It didn't give them anything but a worse situation. إِن كَانُوا يَجْحَدُونَ بِآيَاتِ اللَّهِ. And when the message did come, they were rejecting the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What would happen? وَحَاقَ بِهِمْ مَا كَانُوا بِهِ يَسْتَهْزِئُونَ. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would envelope them in whatever they were laughing at, in whatever they were ridiculing the messengers, whatever the believers were, whatever they were believing in, they would make fun of it. And on that day, and on the day of their punishment in this world and the hereafter, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will surround them with whatever they were trying to make fun of the believers. Yes. وَلَقَدْ أَهْلَكْنَا مَا حَوْلَكُمْ مِنَ الْقُرَى. Now, ayat 27, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that this tornado, because of this ayah, so some scholars might agree that the translation is that certainly we have destroyed whatever surrounds even that town. So some scholars say that it was not just only that Ahqaf little village that Ad used to live. It was like a little bigger area. Like for example, we live in Houston, so that or we live in Sugarland or whatever state, and then just think of something bigger than that. That's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had covered as entire punishment. وَصَرَّفْنَا الْآيَاتِ لَعَلَّهُمْ يَرْجِعُونَ. And we have given them multiple signs in different forms, and we have given them in different colors. We have them given in different shapes, just so they can return back to the straight message, which is the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the straight path. فلولا نصرهم الله الذين اتخذوا من دون الله. So why did they take other gods for help, other deities for help besides Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? قُرْبَانًا آلِهَةً, and using gods as a way to approach Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. بَلْ ضَلُّوا عَنْهُمْ, and they were truly lost in every way that you look at it. وَذَلِكَ إِفْكُهُمْ وَمَا كَانُوا يَفْتَرُونَ, and they were indulged in falsehood, and because that's what they were inventing. So an example of what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, just so you can further understand. So there are saints or godly figures or something like this. So some believers or disbelievers, they may go to these people and they may worship them And then on the day, this is their ideology, which is not correct in any way, that they would go and worship these people on the day of judgment, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will call those people who are worshiping them, whatever godly figure that they were worshiping, they will say that these are my people, let them go into Jannah. This is not how it will work. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that He will judge every single person accordingly by themselves. There will be no one to save them except whatever good that they have done in this world and whatever mercy that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given them. There will be no human to save them on that day. There will be no person to give them any shafa'ah. It's only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that will guarantee that either if that person will go to Jannah and Jahannam, or Jahannam. Jazakallah khairan for everyone listening today. Inshallah, we will launch these poll questions that I have made today. So this is just for part 3 of Surah Ahqaf. So please answer them. Abdullah, inshallah, will be reciting ayat 19 to 28 of Surah Ahqaf. And then you will be answering these questions, inshallah. Jazakallah khairan. And please make sure that some of them are multiple choice. So answer as many as you think that might be correct. Abdullah.
For giving this beautiful lecture on Surah Ahqaf, the part 3. Hope you all benefited. So now, inshallah, I shall be reciting the surah while you answer the polls, inshallah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ولكل درجات مما عملوا وليوفيهم أعمالهم وهم لا يظلمون ويوم يعرض الذين كفروا على النار يذهبتم طيباتكم في حياتكم الدنيا واستمتعتم بها فاليوم تجزون عذاب الهون بما كنتم تقولون على الله غير الحق فاليوم تجزون عذاب الهون بما كنتم تستكبرون في الأرض بغير الحق وبما كنتم تفسقون واذكر أخا عاد إذ أنذر قومه بالأحقاف وقد خلت النذر من بين يديه ومن خلفه ألا تعبدوا إلا الله إني أخاف عليكم عذاب يوم عظيم قالوا أجئتنا لتأفكنا عن آلهتنا فأتنا بما تعدنا إن كنت من الصادقين قال إنما العلم عند الله وأبلغكم ما أرسلت به ولكني أراكم قوما تجهلون فلما رأوه عارضا مستقبل أوديتهم قالوا هذا عارض ممطرنا بل هو ما استعجلتم به ريح فيها عذاب أليم تدمر كل شيء بأمر ربها فأصبحوا لا يرى إلا مساكنهم كذلك نجزي القوم المجرمين ولقد مكناهم في ماء مكناكم فيه وجعلنا لهم سمعا وأبصارا وأفئدة فما أغنى عنهم سمعهم ولا أبصارهم ولا أفئدتهم من شيء إذ كانوا يجحدون بآيات الله وحاق بهم ما كانوا به يستهزئون ولقد أهلكنا ما حولكم من القرى وصرفنا الآيات لعلهم يرجعون فلولا نصرهم الذين اتخذوا من دون الله قربانا آلهة بل ضلوا عنهم وذلك إفكهم وما كانوا يفترون.
And Abdullah for a wonderful recitation. I'll be going over these answers, inshallah. Question number 1: which tribe did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mention that completely destroyed? Quraysh, Ad, or Thamud? This one should be easy. It's the correct answer is Ad. Hud alayhi salam was sent to the tribe of Ad. It is not Quraysh. Quraysh did not receive a punishment. Thamud received the punishment, but it was not mentioned even in this surah. Question 2: where did this tribe in the above question live? In Jordan, Al-Ahqaf, in Yemen, or in Saudi Arabia? So this one's a multiple choice, so you can click as many as you like. So the correct answers are Al-Ahqaf. This is where they used to live, in sand dunes, and the country is Yemen. So they used to live in the country of Yemen. Question 3. What were the 2 punishments brought to this tribe? Howling winds for a week, hurricanes, drought, earthquakes for 3 days and nights. So the correct answer, the first punishment that was brought was the drought. And then they thought they saw a cloud coming, and then it was just a bunch of wind, it was just a bunch of dust, and it was a huge storm. So it was a lot of wind for a whole week. So there was no water involved, so it's not a hurricane. It's not an earthquake, there was no earthquake involved. The correct answers are drought and howling winds for a week. Question 4. Why do some people use godly figures or religious figures to pray on but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? They fear Allah. They fear the punishment of Allah. They don't want to do any good deeds. They think those figures will save them from Allah. So, okay, let's think about it. They fear Allah. If they fear Allah, then they wouldn't be worshiping any godly figure. So that answer choice is wrong. They fear the punishment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So if they fear the punishment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's number 1 major sin is not to associate anyone, which is shirk. Do not do shirk. So it cannot be this. They do not want to do any good deeds. This is correct. Some religions do this. They will use a prophet, and then they will use that prophet as a means to go into Jannah. And they will think that their sins will be taken along with this prophet. And they think like this. So they don't want to do any good deeds. That's correct. All they want to do is sin. They think that this prophet will save them. They think that those figures will save them from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Correct. This is exactly what they think. But on the day of judgment, these people will not save them at all. Instead, it will hurt them back because they're going to be doing shirk, which is a major sin. All right. Jazakallah khair for everyone attending today. Abdullah.
Jazakallah khair for everyone attending, like Abdurrahman said. So now, inshallah, I think so we just please remember to inshallah join us next week for the final part of Al-Ahqaf, the 4th part, inshallah. Jazakallah khair for attending. So now, inshallah, we can do the calling dua. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليه أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين وآخر دعواهم أن الحمد لله رب العالمين والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.